Let's talk about eyes. Let's get about eyes. So I'm going over here to common conditions on herbalhealthreview.com. On herbalhealthreview.com, when we're talking about eyes, and we're talking about a serious situation where someone is diabetic, which is causing cataracts and causing eye disorders, and it's the bottom of what's going on. So people who have diabetes, and until you can aggressively get rid of it where they can't find it anymore, because that is very possible. I've got a lot of people who don't have diabetes. I know a lot of people who don't have diabetes anymore, who used to have diabetes. So there's a diabetic report. So we're talking about more than the eyes, because you're getting to the cause. The cause is diabetes. The weakness then is in the eyes. So we got to deal with two things. We got to deal with the diabetes. Now, if the diabetes is also causing any other things like kidney problems and neuropathy, nerve damage, we got to deal with all of these things. They're all separate issues, all part of, a clock is a clock, but it's got 12 hours on it. It's got and 60 seconds, for every minute. So it's one thing, but it's doing a lot of different things. And the body's doing the same thing. It's doing a lot of different things. So first of all, we got to get real aggressive with this person who's got diabetes, who's got an eye problem now, who has eye leakage. So if that kind of a situation, we need to get aggressive with the diabetes. We got to get real aggressive with a Make Lifestyle Changes report, so that they're in a real strong diet, nourishing the body to overcome anything. So, and addressing every issue. If the kidneys are weak or even suspect, strengthen them. Strengthen the kidneys. And because there's all kinds of things in the kidney bladder report. So we're talking about the eyes. And we can't even get there until we clean house. It's like walking into a kitchen, you see a lot of pots and pans and things need to be cleaned up before you can cook. You got to make sure it's all done and it's all working correctly. If you're hearing dogs in the background, it's because the area that I live in is surrounded by dogs. That's what people use for to keep people off their property. And the people 100 feet from me have 10 dogs, and that's all they do is bark all day long, and nobody wants to come near those dogs. So nobody goes on that property except the owner. So that's how they do it here, where I'm living. Okay? But the rent is cheap. But the dogs bark. So that's why you're hearing that. Now they've settled down. But as soon as somebody walks by or something, they go crazy. Anyway, so much for that. Eyesight. So we got to fix all these problems. We got to make sure the diabetes is real aggressive. Make lifestyle changes, real aggressive diet system, and it's complete. I mean, I did the work. It took a lot of work to create this absolutely wonderful diet system. So check it out and get into it, and look at those kidneys and look at anything else that's going on or seems to be weak. Now, when everything is spick and span here, and we can go into that kitchen and cook, and we will. So now we go over to common condition reports, and we go down to eyes, the eye report. And this is really something. I had the FDA actually walk into my facility there, into my lab, and demand that I pour out my I formula, and if I didn't do it, and they filmed me doing it, because if I didn't do it, they were going to lock the place up, put me out of business, because I cannot have a formula for the eyes. So, I obeyed. I obeyed the FDA, and in what was that? About 2005, 2006. I poured all my eye formula down the drain, and they watched me do it, and they filmed it, and they didn't, and they went away. And then they came back in 2008, and they were even worse. They always harassed me. Okay? They came in and demand that I change the name of this. I couldn't say this, I couldn't say that. It's like living in Nazi Germany, you have to, you can't say this and you can't say that, which is the way it's kind of getting here lately. You got people that are your thought police and so forth, and whatever you're thinking, you're not allowed to think that, etc., etc. Well, evil rears its ugly head in high places, and it makes all kinds of rules that everybody's supposed to follow because they're the rule maker, and evil is the rule maker. Anyway, so we're talking about eyes. So when you're talking about the eyes, here is a combination where you take an eye cup, and you can get this eye care kit from Health and Herbs. And it'll have, in this eye care kit, a bottle of this tincture extract. And it's going to be alcohol free. And it's going to be these eye drops. But they can't sell them as eye drops. But they can sell it to you as an eye product that you can squirt under your tongue. Okay? So you can get this little bottle of herbal tincture, and you get also a bottle of colloidal silver water, or you get a colloidal silver water generator, because everybody should have a colloidal silver water generator, a little box that makes colloidal silver water, because colloidal silver water is the cure for over 650 diseases. It will destroy over 650 diseases, and all it is water with submicroscopic particles of silver floating, carrying an electric charge. Hunting for bacteria, viruses, funguses, attaching themselves to those and penetrating the cell and disabling the oxygen of any bacteria, virus, fungus that it can find. It's just like a magnet, goes right to it, goes into the cell and destroys that cell. But it does not harm human beings. And it's a great disinfectant. It's a safe disinfectant. It's safe to splash it in your eyes and wash your eyes out with it. So in this case, we're doing what the FDA said is impossible, and that I couldn't do it. But anyway, this is what works. Is you take some colloidal silver water and an eye cup that you get from Brittany, unless you already got one, and you fill that eye cup half full of colloidal silver water, and you take a little pinch or an eighth of a teaspoon of MSM powder, which is called methyl sulfonyl methane. It's organic, natural sulfur and if you take it internally, it's detoxing every cell in your body, and it is keeping every cell in your body permeable. That means wet and moist, and live and healthy and young. So that's what MSM does, and I've got an open mic, and I got to go find it. And I found it. Thank you for joining us. We're explaining how to work with a very difficult eye problem, which was caused by a cataract operation that went bad, and they caused damage and bleeding behind the eye. So what would an herbalist do for a situation like that? Now, I'm not prescribing or diagnosing for the person. I'm just stating and discussing the possible things to do where the doctors say there's nothing you can do, and they're pushing this person into surgery. More surgery when they botched the first one. That's scary. And injections of poisons into that area. That's so far what they're suggesting and want to do. And that person's asking, what are the possibilities of natural remedies? Well, here's the possibilities. Taking that colloidal silver water and taking that eye cup and making it half full of colloidal silver water, putting a little pinch of MSM powder in there, putting and by the way, you want to start taking MSM powder because it's detoxing every cell, and it'll keep every cell in your body young and permeable. It will help to create healthy cells, and we need to stop bleeding there. So we're going to get to the stopping of the bleeding as well. We're going to look at what herbs are and how can we possibly stop bleeding with that's behind the eye. So let's take so now we've got this eye cup. We've got some half full of colloidal silver water, a little pinch of MSM powder in there, and we're taking a teaspoon of MSM powder with each meal. That's 1 teaspoon 3 times a day for the first week, 2 teaspoons the second week, 3 teaspoons the third week with each meal. That's a tablespoon with each meal on the third week, because we're detoxing you, and we want to do it slowly, not quickly, because it will detox every cell. It will keep every cell in your body younger longer. As you get older, you will wrinkle less or not at all. And you won't get old if you've taken a lot of MSM. You just, because it's keeping every cell in your body younger longer. It's anti-aging. So therefore, now, and when we sprinkle this little bit of the powder into the eye cup with 1 drop, maybe 2 drops of raw honey, and let's get one of the strongest honeys called Manuka raw honey, and we'll use one, not more than 3 drops, 1 or 2 drops of raw honey in this eye cup. Now we're ready for a mixture of tincture extract, and it's an alcohol-free glycerite extract of golden seal, eyebright, bayberry bark, passion flower, and bilberry fruit and leaf, and a little bit of cayenne to stimulate and dilate the cells to open up and cause it to penetrate and get deep into the eyes and even behind the muscle behind the eye. It will penetrate. So now we're sending all of that, those nutrients and all that cleansing and detoxifying and sulfur and nutrients are washing the eye out. And you've got this in an eye cup. And you place that eye cup up over one of your eyes, and you seal it to the eye. And you look up and down and back and forth and back and up and down for about 30 seconds, not more than a minute. Now it's going to be very stimulating, so that's why it's 1 to 3 drops of the number 1168 tincture extract of all those herbs with the cayenne in it. We don't want it to be uncomfortable. So it doesn't need to burn, although it will never harm the eye. It will not even if you put a teaspoon of it straight in there, it's not going to burn the eye. It's going to be uncomfortable, and it's going to feel like it's burning the eye, but there will be no tissue damage. It does not damage tissue. Cayenne is hot, but it does not damage tissue. So, but we're going to use a small amount, and you're going to be comfortable. Of this number 1168, you're going to use about 1 to 3 drops. And you're going to find out if as long as it's stimulating, great. And we're going to then hold that up to the eye and do that for about 30 seconds to a minute. And we're going to do it 3 times a day. And we're going to use the same eye wash all day long. Because it's not going to be bad, because it's not going to go bad, because it can't go bad because of the colloidal silver water. Can't infect it. So we can hold that up, and it'll get rid of pink eye and all kinds of eye infections. And what will happen when you hold that up to your eye, and then for 30 seconds to a minute, then you do the other eye. You seal it to the other eye, and look up and down and back and forth for about 30 seconds, and you're done. And you put a squirt under your tongue. That's right. You put a squirt of 1168 under your tongue, and you do that 3 times a day. And you get the eye care kit, and it's got the eye cup, and it's got the 1168 drops. It's got the colloidal silver water, but you can buy the generator, and then you don't have to. Then you can get these things separately, and you don't have to buy the colloidal silver water because you can make it yourself. And you can consume up to 32 ounces a day if you're really sick for up to 10 days. Or I've done it up to 21 days when I came back from Egypt, because I really was sick when I got back from Egypt. And that was quite a trip. Now, but normally all you need is about 16 ounces for up to 14 days to get rid of colds, flus, viruses, that type of thing. But I've consumed 32 ounces a day for up to 21 days. Then you want to do a heavy metal detox after that. There is a heavy metal detox herbal formulation besides the MSM, which is detoxing as well. But there's one called heavy metal detox. And that heavy metal detox, let's see if I can just found. Here we go. Eyes, no. I could do this. A heavy metal detox. B. Okay, here we go. And so I'm over here on betterhealthherbs.com because I'm describing a heavy metal detox for people who have to take and consume a lot of colloidal silver water because it's non-toxic. Silver is non-toxic, but it builds up in your body and will change the color of your skin. You'll turn silver, and it's hard to get out unless you know about heavy metal detox, HEAVY. So I'm up on betterhealthherbs.com website. By the way, I get nothing from the sale of any product. Donations is what I get. If I get a donation, then I can pay the bills, and if I don't get a donation, then I can't pay the bills, and that's it. So, heavy. Oh, what did I do? I spelled it wrong. That's what. Okay. H-E-A. I want to do. There we go. Heavy. It's so here's a heavy metal detox. Because I'm up on Health Herbs and I typed in heavy, and up come heavy metal. And in heavy metal is chlorella, cilantro, chlorella algae, cracked cell chlorella. And all of these are certified organic. And cilantro leaf, and coriander seed, and garlic bulb, and turmeric root, and milk thistle seed. All of these are great detoxers and protectors of the liver, and against infection and inflammation. All of these things. And that's a heavy metal detox. It just sucks all of this up into it. All the heavy metals as it goes through the body. And I like to use it with the fiber powder with bentonite clay, and I like to use it. I don't only want to put it. A lot of people put it in a power drink, and you can do that. But I'd take it in the evening all by itself, 2 hours before dinner, on an empty stomach, with whatever fiber powder, as much fiber powder, number 4837 fiber powder with bentonite clay, the psyllium seed husk, super green foods, and bentonite clay, all in a powder. And you put a teaspoon, a tablespoon, whatever amount thickens the bowel movement. Your bowel movement, you want it to be so loose that it breaks up in a cloud. And you can keep it loose either with a liquid called CAC liquid, or CACT is for constipation, and will get rid of and train the bowel to go back to work again, and it gets rid of constipation. It's a CACT if there's constipation. But if there isn't constipation, you take this number 1078 CAC liquid, and that liquid, you take enough of it to keep the bowel movement soft, and it's cleaning the bloodstream, and it's cleaning things up. Because see, things that are the liver can't handle them. And where does it send them? It sends them out to the eyes. The eyes is a little channel of elimination. When you do that eye wash, your eyes are going to drain. For the first 7 days, they're going to run and run and run, and they're going to drain. All the junk is going to drain out of them. And then it's just going to start absorbing all those nutrients. And if you're doing a cleansing and a detoxification at the same time, that's a good idea. Because then you're taking any toxins that would be sent to the eyes or any other part of the body. Because that's what the liver does. It says, if I can't handle it, out it goes. It's going back in the bloodstream. You deal with it. I can't, if it's something bad we've gotten into, or maybe if there's diabetes and the liver is weak. So a heavy metal detox is a good idea, and a cleanse and a detox is a good idea. So now getting back to the eyes, because cleansing, detoxing, and taking the pressure off the eyes is a good idea. And that heavy metal detox is another thing like MSM that detoxifies the body. But the heavy metal detox is a sponge. And so is the fiber powder, number 4837, and so you're getting all of this detoxification. Now, when you're taking that fiber powder, you're taking enough of it to thicken the bowel movements. You're taking enough of that 1078 CAC liquid to thin the bowel movements, so you're cleaning out. The object is balance the two, the fiber and the cleansing liquid or tea, with enough water. You've got to drink enough water. See, there's where you go to the Make Lifestyle Changes report. Make Lifestyle Changes report tells you exactly how much water every person should drink. And it's half your body weight in ounces. If you weigh 100 pounds, you want 50 ounces of water or quality liquids. We can count soup. We're not going to count much fruity juice. That's right, because it's a lot of sugar. And we don't encourage you to drink a lot of juice. A modest amount is great and wonderful. But we just don't get all sugared up. Especially if you've got diabetes. We want to watch your sugar. And we want to make sure that you're taking enough things that they can't find diabetes. And if you really get aggressive, usually in 30 days, I've got lots of people I know who don't have diabetes anymore. But again, all of these things are affecting the eyes. So I'm making sure that we're doing as much as we can to support something, because we want a miracle. And it is a miracle when you get all the dominoes lined up and you're doing all these things at the same time. The problem can't handle it, because the problem can't handle the answer, because the answer is overwhelming. Yes, it is, and you need to do as much as it takes. Some people need 2 or 3 things. Some people can take one thing and everything's great and wonderful, and other people need to do 6 or 8 or 10 things because they got a lot of things going on. So that's it. You got to figure out what it is and what it takes, and then do the job. I mean, if you need spark plugs and an oil change, you got them out. Then you need them both. That's it. So now we got this eye kit, and we've used this CME formula, and we're giving a squirt underneath the tongue 3 times a day. We're taking a teaspoon of that fiber, with each meal for the first week. So we're really detoxing. And then if you're working on the liver and cleansing at the same time, and if you've got any other illness, if you got high blood pressure, you got to work on it. We got to work on that at the same time. So, and especially with diabetes, you got to work on the kidneys all at the same time. Then you get results, because you overwhelm the problem. And now here's the food that feeds the eye. It's called lutein. Lutein. Little tiny pill. Let's look at see, when you click on something, you can open the link in a new tab, and then you can be looking at the product. See, that's the thing. These reports are so deep, and I've done so much work on them. You can click on the product, and you're looking at it. Now I'm looking at lutein. Okay, 40 milligrams. And there's 60. So that's 60, that's 40 milligrams. And what do they say you should do? It's $14.39. But remember, the discount code is GOCC for 20% off. And I'm not getting anything for, I'm not selling things. I invented all this, but I don't get anything from it. It'd be nice if I did, but I'd give it all to the poor. I'd help more people, but that's just not the way this works. I have to be a not-for-profit, and I'm a minister, and I have to run it like that, and I give away everything I have ever had and ever will have. So it's 200 micrograms of zeaxanthin, micrograms in there, and that's the main ingredient of lutein. It is the zeaxanthin, a great healer that heals the eyes. So that's it. So that's what lutein is, and that's how much it costs, $14. And then you get your $14.39, and then you get 20% off of that. So that's it. And what does it say the dose is? The dose is 1 a day. So that's 2 months supply. A 2-month supply, 1 a day. So now let's get back to the eyes. Now you know about the nutrition for the eye. You know about the eye cup. You know about colloidal silver water. And let's go down and find out about one more thing here called triphala. Triphala, a.k.a. 3-herb powder. Now this is famous formulation comes from India, been used for thousands of years, and it's used for healthy eyes. And you can use it as an eye wash. In this case, we already got a better eye wash. It is hard to get a better eye wash than Triphala, but the one we just described is. So we're using only the powder, half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of it in hot water before breakfast and before dinner. And that powder is amazing. It's an amazing, that's why it's been used well over 2,000 years as a staple, as something you always go to if you're using Ayurvedic medicine. And in India, it's considered the greatest and most versatile of all herbal formulations. So it's really, see, there's 6 recognized tastes, 6 of them in Ayurvedic medicine. 6 of them. One of them is sweet, bitter, and salty. The other 3 are sour, pungent, and astringent. And the Triphala is only missing the salty taste. It's sweet, bitter, sour, pungent, and astringent. It's just not salty. So it's got the 5 main tastes, but here's what those, and it's coming from 3 ingredients. One of them is called Amia, A-M-I-A. And the fruit is very high in vitamin C and is used either alone or in combination with other plants to treat the common cold and fever, and as a diuretic, and as a digestive and a laxative and a liver tonic and a restorative, and it's anti-inflammatory as well. So it's a fruit called Amia. That's one of the 3 herbs of Triphala. The second one is called Haritaki. H-A-R-I-T like Tom, A like Apple, K like Kansas, I like Idaho. Haritaki. And it treats a variety of health issues, including constipation, dementia, memory problems, and diabetes. That's what Haritaki does. The third fruit is Bibhitaki. Bibhitaki, B-I-B-H-I-T-A-K-I, is used in the treatment of diabetes, high blood pressure, and rheumatism, and studies have even shown that Bibhitaki, that this fruit's extract might be able to inhibit atherosclerosis plaque progression. So it stops plaque from forming. So, and here's some of the main things that they've used it for. Number 1, it's a cancer fighter. Studies found that the Triphala extract was able to suppress the spread of and induce cell death of human colon cancer stem cells. Number 2, Triphala is natural laxative and colon cleanser. Amia, that fruit, A-M-I-A, supports intestinal repair. And the Haritaki strengthening the intestinal muscles to contract more efficiently when the bowels need to move. And the Bibhitaki pulls the old mucus off the wall. They work together. Wow. You know? So and it's good for weight loss. So it's a natural laxative and colon cleanser. It's also used. It's used for cancer. It's used for weight loss. In a study for weight loss, the triphala group experienced significantly greater decrease in weight as well as waist and hip circumference as compared to the placebo group. People got thinner. And it lowers cholesterol. Japanese studies showed that the total cholesterol as well as the LDL, bad cholesterol, were significantly reduced. Animal subjects with high cholesterol that were treated with triphala. And finally, anti-inflammatory and an arthritis helper. Its high antioxidant and polyphenol content make it an excellent anti-inflammatory. And one study specifically showed it improved bone and cartilage breakdown during rheumatoid arthritis. So people use it as, can be taken on an empty stomach. The powder can be used to make a tea by adding half a teaspoon of powder to a cup of hot water. And there's tablets and capsules and even liquid, tincture extracts of triphala. And they're typically taken once or twice a day before food. So generally it's taken on an empty stomach or before food. And for a liquid supplement, you typically could be directed to take 30 drops in water, or 1 to 3 times daily under the tongue. Under the tongue is the state-of-the-art delivery system. As a digestive tonic and a laxative, triphala is best taken in the evenings about 2 hours before eating and at least 30 minutes before bedtime. So that's the tip of the iceberg on eyes. Now let's go deeper, because we've got a hemorrhaging situation here, where this eye is leaking blood behind the eye. So let's go here. What do you do in that case? Well, that's where now you want an herb called shepherd's purse, because shepherd's purse stops hemorrhaging, and so does cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper slows down bleeding and hemorrhaging. Let's take a look at my research report on hemorrhaging. I'm back here. I'm out of the eye report. I'm going over to hemorrhage. A hemorrhage, bleeding. And it talks about, and I've got an open mic here somewhere. Let's see where the mic is open. And I'm looking for it. There it is. Did you have a question or in Florida? Nope, just on open mic. Okay, open your mic again if you have a question or a suggestion or a topic. All right, so I'm closing the mic. Just got open by accident. And back to hemorrhaging. Let's talk about hemorrhaging. So here's some ways to stop internal bleeding. And here are some more. I've got 4 different reports here regarding how to slow down internal bleeding, and a particular formulation to decrease heavy menstrual flow. So if somebody's got dysmenorrhea, they've got heavy menstrual flow, then you use this particular formulation. And also cayenne pepper by itself slows down bleeding. Let's take a look at this heavy menstrual flow formula, and I'm opening that link in a new tab. Let's take a look at that formulation. And now I'm looking at menstruation decrease, which is going to just decrease the flow of blood anywhere in the body. And guess what it's going to contain? Shepherd's purse. But it's also got mistletoe leaf, blessed thistle leaf, witch hazel bark, nettle root, and because you're going to need that nettle root also because it's going to help that anemia. And because when you've got bleeding anywhere in the body, you know, and especially if you've got a heavy menstrual flow, you're subject to anemia. So shepherd's purse is in there. Red raspberry leaf, that will slow bleeding, and it'll slow bleeding especially now if you're taking a menstruation decrease herbal formulation which will decrease hemorrhages. Okay, it could also be called anti-hemorrhage formula. So that's the formula that we're looking for to help as we are also using a little bit of cayenne as a penetrant with our number 1168 eye drops that are in that eye cup. So we're working on it now in a couple of different directions, but now let's send it directly to the head. And how would you do that? Let's get a formulation for memory. Let's get a memory formula. I'm going back over here, and I'm going to the website, and I'm typing in memory, MEM, because if I'm using things that are for the memory, I'm working on the brain. I'm working on the nervous tissue of the brain with sending nutrients to it, and I can do that with a memory focus kit. And the memory focus kit number 4466. I'm clicking on the memory and focus kit because I'm wanting to increase circulation to the head. I want to unclog the arteries. I want to get that shepherd's purse and all those other herbs there, and I'm going to need ginkgo leaf because that's exactly what it'll do. And I'm going to send some gotu kola there. It'll clear the memory and clear the mind. And some Eleutherococcus synthecosis, Siberian ginseng, that is going to give me mental stamina. So now I'm sending a lot of circulation to the brain and clearing the memory, brain, mental, head stimulation. I'm sending some Hypothyrhoidism root, which the oldest man in the world ever, I think he lived to be 260 years old in China. I think he's gone now, but he lived to 260, and he always had Hypothyrhoidism root. That's to keep the mind young and your memory young. Hypothyrhoidism root. So that's in it. That's perfect for what we want to do here. Ginkgo leaf, gotu kola leaf, Eleuthero root, and Hypothyrhoidism root. So there we go. And that's formula number 4466. So now we're taking those two at about 30 drops 3 times a day. We're taking the hemorrhage formula, and we're taking which is number, I can do that. There's also a bleeding report. Let's see. So we got a lot of information here, but cayenne pepper is great for this, and even for external wounds, cayenne pepper can be used to slow down, stop bleeding externally. Hot, but stops bleeding, stop a hemorrhage. You got a hemorrhaging wound. And there's a link to shepherd's purse all by itself. So we could use more just plain shepherd's purse.